Film fans YouTube, hello, welcome back to the channel. I am Josh, your movie apprentice, and today I am looking at A Quiet Place Day 1, directed by Michael Sarnoski, and starring the talents of Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, and Djimon Hounsou. A Quiet Place Day 1 focuses on the very first day of this apocalypse where the world went silent, and we follow it through the eyes of a law student, a father, and a cancer patient. Before I get into my review, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. But without further ado, let's jump right into this review. So A Quiet Place is a franchise that has genuinely been the most recent example of a successful franchise being built off some original IP ideas, and I hold this franchise near and dear to my heart. So seeing what happened on the opening day in this vast metropolis setting of New York and how it goes from being this very noisy city to a city of complete silence, I was very much looking forward to this one, especially with the talents involved. Lupita Nyong'o is a fantastic actress, Joseph Quinn is on the up, and Djimon Hounsou, honestly, this guy needs a feature-length leading role already because he is always good in what he does, and the minutes of screen time he gets, he maximizes them to the absolute full potential. But like with every other movie he seems to be in, he is in this for a bit and nails it, but isn't in this too much. Overall, for me, A Quiet Place Day 1, I enjoyed it for the most part. However, there are a number of things that really take me out of the film, and they really bend the rules as much as humanly possible in this one. That occasionally works to the film's detriment. Obviously, I have to quickly get out of the way. The cat Frodo, that is basically the comfort cat to our lead protagonist here. This cat is honestly something that will either make or break the film for you. There will be a lot of people that go into this that will get endeared to the cat because it's a cat. People love cats. But at the same time, as someone who has owned the cat and has known many a cat owner and just people that are obsessed with cats in general, there is no way that this cat is going to be as quiet as it is during the whole movie. There are several moments where you would expect any other cat to hiss or meow or scratch a post or just freak out. This cat is literally put into water a few times in this movie, yet it is very relaxed about this, very chill. Like, was this cat on catnip the whole time? I adored the cat, I enjoyed the cat, but it really broke the immersion for me, simply because I do not think I've ever met a cat that is so relaxed, especially when there are threats around. This was something that really took me out of the movie and prevented it from being as good as the previous two for me. There's also elements of The Quiet Place that really bug me a little bit. Obviously, they established the rules that a sound will get you killed off, and the only safe places are in a thunderstorm or underwater or something that's just generally louder than you are currently. That is something that is coming into play a lot in this movie. But there are other times where it feels like they forget how deadly just the slightest sound will be in this universe. There is a scene where someone dies because their shirt rips and he is immediately slaughtered, yet another character bursts out of water, panting heavily, and it's very loud splashing, and not a single creature comes towards that character. That is nothing that drags me out of this. It feels like with the Quiet Place franchise, as we have gone further through it, it feels like they are being a bit more lenient with what sounds they get away with. There is definitely more talking in this movie than there has been in the previous movies. The only time I remember this much talking happening in the previous movies was probably isolated island that the monsters couldn't get to, or small echo chambers. There was a whole conversation sequence that happens at very room level noises that takes place in a building that I don't feel was as secure as other places I've been where people have been able to have these full conversations. So that drags me out of it as well. The world just feels very fast and loose with the rules, and that is something that wouldn't have bothered me so much had it not been for how iron-fisted the rules were in the previous two installments. That is not to say that I dislike this movie though. I thought there was a lot of things that the film executed perfectly well. The story of our lead character and their quest to obtain pizza in this is a very engaging piece of cinema, and I love the performances across the board. Joseph Quinn and Lupita Nyong'o are forced to really act their socks off to convey a complex dynamic that starts off pretty strange. And whilst I do doubt the fact that she would have let the man stick around for longer than he did, I still enjoyed when they had these sweet moments, these moments of connection and humanity. That's where the film shines strongest for me. Without spoiling anything, my favorite scene in this movie is a little scene miming a comedy show. That, for me, is my favorite scene in the whole movie. And I liked how the tension was built up in the early sequences. There was a lot of handheld cinematography in the early stages when we're going through the chaos element of things, and the slow build-up of sound during the first evacuation sequence is really good, because all these little sounds will stack on top of each other and it's just waiting for that nut to crack before the chaos and death ensues. And I had to jump back to the early part of the film as well with Djimon Hounsou. As I said, he maximizes every minute he gets screen time wise. And there is one particular moment that is all in the face. It's all about the physical performance and the score, and it is absolutely nailed on. Honestly, the guy needs his flowers given to him by Hollywood at some point. And Joseph Quinn, Lupita Nyong'o is so charismatic. She is so charismatic in this, even without having to speak very much. Her character just oozed this charisma. You got this character. You understood exactly why they would be doing what they are doing. It's almost how she magnetizes Joseph Quinn's character into the fold. Now, I will admit, I expected that character to go in a different direction to what it did, especially with how puppy dog he is in the early stages. It felt there was something untowards going on, and the jump from this strained companionship, trying to survive together in the early days of The Quiet World, to how well they interact with each other in the later stages of the film, I thought was really well executed. The tension when it comes to avoiding these creatures is really well done, as always, and there's a great sequence in a subway tunnel. So when it comes to tension and the horror elements, I thought it was really good. The tension building up the silence to them little sounds really peaking are really good. That's something that's been consistent across this franchise. But again, having a creature throughout the majority of the film that people know tends to make noises for the most random of reasons, suddenly being very chill with it, as well as less screen time for some characters, and the fact that the don't make a sound rule seems to be getting stretched to the absolute limit in this one. It really dragged me out of the film a fair bit. I'm not saying the previous two films were perfect for that either, but it felt like when they started bending the rules, they were pushing it but not quite crossing the line, whereas this film dipped more than the toe over the line of when we'd expect these creatures to show up, so it felt very inconsistent in that way. Before I get into my grade, if you like what you're seeing on the channel, click the like button and subscribe for more video reviews that's coming all the time. But without further ado, let's jump into the grade. So Quiet Place Day 1, it is a movie that is the third in a franchise, and I will say it's probably been the weakest one so far, but it doesn't make it a bad movie either. There was just a lot of stuff that dragged me out of the movie, and there are elements of the rules of the Quiet World that seem to be twisted and bent and outright broken at times in this. The Quiet Place franchise stands strongest when it comes to the human nature and interactions, and I feel like the performances across the board from Djimon, Joseph, and Lupita are all fantastic. I am really excited to see where this franchise continues to go, but it did start to feel like we are getting to a point now where there is a limit to how we can stretch this story, this arc, this world, and that bubble will eventually burst. So I feel like it might be nice to let it lie with how this movie ends. I'm going to have to say that for me, A Quiet Place Day 1 is a tea that needs more sugar. So A Quiet Place Day 1, have you seen it? If you have, let me know you thought down in the comments below. Coming up on the channel, there will be reviews of Maxine to come, as well as Deadpool and Wolverine. We're getting to a strong month of movies here. And on this channel as well, there's going to be some changes. I put up a poll the other day on the community post for ways to diversify the content for the second half of the year. The love you have all shown Mind the Moment video essay is very much appreciated, and we'll probably start doing some more throwback reviews, trying to go back into the video essay route as well. And something I've been putting off for a while is doing a tier list of the new films that I've watched each month, just to wrap up my thoughts on every film I saw, so you at least get a little bit of coverage on everything. That's probably going to start in a couple of days' time where I look at the June movies. So stay tuned for that and make sure you subscribe for all that content coming very soon, and vote on the community post as well. But until next time, everybody, I am Josh, I've been your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you all in the next video.